Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Interactive Grimoire. Tonight's question, what is a zombie? Most people, of course, are familiar with the image of the zombie as interpreted by Hollywood horror films. Most films made about zombies in Hollywood have frankly been pretty bad and have also included a large dose of racism, because the origin of the legend of the zombie is Africa. White Zombie from 1932 starring Bela Lugosi, I Walked with the Zombie from 1943 starring Francis D., and The Zombies of Sugar Hill, a blaxploitation film from 1974, are generally considered to be the best of the lot of Hollywood horror films about zombies. But the zombie has never been a staple of Hollywood horror, as other monsters such as the vampire and the revenant mummy have been. There have been few films about zombies, and even fewer good ones. Most films which have been made have included a very distorted view of the voodoo religion, from which the zombie originates. Voodoo is an Afro-diasporic religion originating in West Africa and closely related to other Afro-diasporic religions such as Santeria, Lukumi, and Candomblé. Voodoo is associated with French colonial areas such as Haiti and New Orleans, where other Afro-diasporic religions such as Santeria are associated with Spanish colonial areas like Brazil. The word voodoo is a Dahomean term meaning spirit, and voodoo does indeed venerate a large number of spirits, much more so than Santeria. Practitioners of voodoo enter ecstatic trance. The spirits enter their bodies and speak through them. Music and dance are important parts of voodoo worship, as is animal sacrifice. Because of the bad press to which pagan religions in general have been subjected, many people erroneously confuse voodoo with black magic. In reality, voodoo is a religion like any other religion, and though its attitudes toward magic differ somewhat from, say, Wicca, it does not approve of black magic as such. There are, however, renegade sects of voodoo, such as Le Secte Rouge, which do practice black magic, of which most voodoo practitioners would not approve. The Making of Zombies is an example of this. Popular fiction to the contrary, The Making of Zombies is not and never was the province of the voodoo priesthood, known as Hunyan and Mambo, but rather of a kind of black magician known as a Bokor. According to legend, the zombie is a dead body raised from its grave through the black magic of the Bokor. A mindless shell, the zombie serves the Bokor as a slave, set to physical labor. As a living corpse, the zombie has no real concept of itself or who it had been. Nor has it much real brain power, the reason it can only be set to simple tasks. There were important taboos around the care and feeding of a zombie. The zombie's connection to its old life had to be symbolically broken. The newly raised zombie would be taken past its old house and told that it was dead. Otherwise, it might one day see the house and remember who it had been and try to go back. Even if the zombie was recognized by its old family, it usually would neither recognize them nor respond to them. There were also certain foods which a zombie could not eat, or else the Bokor's power over them would be broken. Chief among these was salt. That the zombie myth persisted into modern times is not surprising. What is surprising is how long it was considered simply a myth. Throughout history and throughout the 20th century, eyewitness accounts of zombies have been numerous. Among the most vivid accounts of zombies are those given by Seabrook in his book, The Magic Island, published in 1929. Although The Magic Island would be considered somewhat condescending, if not openly racist by today's standards, it is nonetheless an interesting eyewitness account of the Haiti of the time, including zombies, which Seabrook claims to have seen personally. Later in the 20th century, the existence of zombies was further bolstered by the existence of photos and later film of professed zombies. I can remember seeing in the 70s filmed interviews with so-called escaped zombies who swore that they had been raised from the grave, a mere shadow of their former selves. Critics dismissed these people as mentally deranged, which they obviously were. However, toward the end of the 20th century, new theories began to be put forth as to what a zombie actually was. Increasingly, it became evident that a zombie was not created through magic, but through drugs. And as the 20th century drew to a close, scientists became eager to discover what the drugs were. The excellent book and film, The Serpent and the Rainbow, give a fictionalized account of this process. In the book, the hero discovers that zombies are made through the administration of a poison made from a tropical plant, to whose active ingredient he gives the scientific name zombinol. In reality, it was later than this when the actual poison used was discovered. It is now believed that the poison of the pufferfish is the drug used in the making of zombies. Basically, the Bakor would extract the poison from the pufferfish and administer it to a selected victim. The victim would enter a catatonic state resembling death and be accepted as dead by their family and buried. The Bakor would then return, dig them up, and revive them. The unfortunate victim would actually believe that they had in fact died and were a zombie. Moreover, the poison also caused brain damage. The person would in many ways be left a mindless shell, just like the zombie of myth. They could then be used by the Bakor as an essentially mindless slave. This is the truth behind the legend of the zombie. A good argument could be made that it is somewhat more horrible than the myth. Thank you. This has been the Interactive